Welcome back to the Donna podcast. Today we are joined with a wonderful guest. His name is Paul Strickland. He also goes by Yahomiedonjuan on IG, and he is a truth seeker and a truth teller. I came across his page back in 2020 when all hell was breaking loose and all of us who were vibrating on a higher consciousness started to connect with one another and share information, and I thought that was such a beautiful thing. So for me, 2020 was really exciting and an eye-opening year. I know for others it was dreadful, but I'm so grateful that I was able to connect with you and so many other people who knew what was up. So thank you so much for spreading true light, family of true light.
Yeah, oh, it's all good. Thanks for having me here. And
Yeah.
Absolutely, it is all about the true light. So it is dope to connect with like-minded energy as we move forward.
One of the things I really enjoyed about your channel is a lot of times with truthers, we get carried away of just kind of like shoving the negative news down everybody's throat. Like, hey, look at this, because we want to spread the word. But you just keep it so flow, and you like remind people of source code and who they are as a person and ascending and all of that. And I just love that about your channel.
Oh man, I appreciate you. Yeah, because that's really all it's about is pure love.
Yeah.
And along this process, this journey, we all have to. We're on a journey of self-discovery to find the love within. And it all begins with self-love. And then it evolves into just being love. Self-love is not the final destination. And you can only obtain that by being real with yourself. And once you start focusing on yourself, you stop focusing on everything else. And that can help the process grow. And so I just, I don't fake, I'm not fronting. This is the only way. The way out is within. And so I try my best to help as many as possible connect with the God within without being addicted to any stories or symbols. Because that's another thing that happens in the consciousness community is people begin pushing their story and their symbol as this is the truth and this is the way. And it's like, but you can't prove that either. No different than we can't prove any of the other stuff. So what is this really about? It's about the purity of your heart and what your intention is as far as love goes. For yourself, and then obviously for the other extensions of yourself that we call people, because they're all extensions of us. So I do try to stay in that zone, and I've had to separate myself from a lot of the people that we were around in 2020 and in 2021 that were calling themselves ascending and Christic and connecting with source and all. Their journey is different than mine, and they may be still connecting, but they still push narratives that only divide us from the true source, which is we are one. And so anything that doesn't support real one, I don't want anything to do with. So I don't lean into skin tones, geographies, genders, none of that. I mean, it's cool. I'm a guy, you're a woman, that's fine. But in all honesty, we're spirit. There is no gender in spirit. So this most high God that I talk about, the God that most people talk about, that's not a he or a she. It's you, it's an energy. And if we could just get to that point, but in order to do that, you have to unplug from everything you've ever been told, and the average individual is just not ready to do that.
Right. So. Talk to us about your platform. You have the True Light. I know you've got a thing going on. You want to let everybody know what that's about?
So I mean, we got a community, Family of True Light. The link is in my Instagram bios. You can follow Family of True Light on Instagram. As she was saying earlier, my other Instagram is Yahomiedonjuan, Yahomiedonjuan. It's so censored though. You have to type it all the way in and get all the way to that last N before it pops up. So it's probably easier for people to type in just Family of True Light, which you see in the background. That Instagram will come up. It's got a link in the bio that'll take you to the links for the site, the community, and we're launching into a new phase because the original phase was just the fire burning inside of me to get off of Instagram because I was being censored so heavy. So I kind of honestly launched the platform without really having my complete vision laid out. And even though vision never is completely laid out because it's always evolving, I personally have taken responsibility as a teaching method to others of the importance of having your whole plan laid out before you actually launch into an endeavor, because then I had to start figuring this out on the whim. And so now as we move forward, the community is more about connectivity as far as being true light, which true light is meaning being your highest, purest self, and then being that in any environment you go into. Because the past year or two, I've seen a lot of individuals almost trying to separate from the world, right? And I get it. They had to, take a step back, go back to the locker room, regroup. But that wasn't the final thing. Now we go back into this matrix system per se and change the coding. And so when I speak on true light, the battle was between true light and false light. It's not between light and dark, because there's nothing wrong with darkness. Darkness is what creativity is born at. It's how we're creative. I have a white hoodie and a black hoodie here. They're both blank canvases, but without the other, they would cease to exist. They wouldn't be a white and a black. And so you have to have these flip polarities in this matrix system. There's a positive and a negative. There's a white and a black. There's these balancing acts. So you get your spiritual consciousness from within, and then you go back into this system, and now you change the code. So my whole thing of Family True Light is trying to, help each one that's connected be able to be that when they go back into their family environments, when they go back into their cultural environments, because the goal is to go back now and infect those environments with the coding. It's not to stay in your hermit crab shell. You go into the cocoon to develop into the butterfly. And when you bust out of the cocoon, you go fly and go do your thing. You don't stay in the cocoon forever. And so now we're trying to help everyone get out of those cocoons and go fly. But it's just it's a daily community process where we're able to, especially off camera. When we have these talks, we cut the cameras off when we stop the recordings. And then off camera, there's some incredible work that's done with our personal sharing of testimonies in real life. And it just gives you a sense of community, reminds you that you're not alone on this journey, that you're a part of a big whole. It's your journey to take, but there's others that are taking it also. And we need to commune with one another. And that's why I really just kind of jumped out there, though. I didn't really have a whole plan. Yeah. But I'm thankful I did, and they're thankful for it as well.
Yeah, I haven't been able to join in just because I've been working a lot, but I see it growing, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead, Paul.
yeah, I get you. And everyone's schedule is different.
Yeah.
And then it's not for everyone. Right. And that's another thing I've been telling them is, I know the programs that run. I mean, being a DJ of 23 years, and being in this game like this, I get it. It's about numbers in the world system, how many followers you have, how many people you can invite to the club, how many bottles you sell, how much money you have in your bank account, like these numbers. But I'm a quality guy. Mm-hmm. And so I spend time with the ones that we have, which the numbers are not like really big in the community just now, which is fine with me. It's a very intimate space, it's a safe community also. And to actually really nourish the environment and let them know, like, hey, it's not about numbers. It's about nutrition. And we're given nutrients in this moment. And just like you and I, for example, right now is more prolific than, 20,000 people just sitting around collecting like chickens, talking about stories that they have really no proof in. It's more just being honest with yourself and talking and sharing stories. It's more like a lot of testimonies is really what it is. Yeah. But it gives them a sense that, they tell me all the time that they have no one else to talk to about this stuff. And their families have disowned them because they don't believe Jesus died on the cross no more and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, so I don't want to just leave them there, though. We continue to take the journey together as a family, to be there for one another, because it's a long play. Everything's not instantly just popped up like popcorn. This is something that's going to take your whole entire lifespan to really, truly process why you need to be true to yourself right now. It's not, maybe not get those confirmations from the people around you right now. It could be some time, but you should never be looking for the confirmation from them anyway. The confirmation is what you see in the mirror. Mm-hmm. And as long as there's peace and love there, then it doesn't really matter. I don't care if Russia's invading Ukraine. It doesn't matter to me, because I command true light into all of humanity every day, no matter what's going on. But what I'm not going to do is give my psyche to it. I'm not letting it in my portals, wars or rumors of wars, any of this stuff. It doesn't exist. And it's actually kind of comical to me that individuals would think that these leaders of these countries are enemies. They're all part of the same oppressive group that's been here since day one, and life is just on a repetitive cycle with them. They take humanity through the same stage every single time. It's the same phase. Now we're just at this point of the fear point, and it's just a bit for psychology, for people's minds. And so we try to help keep their minds on themselves. Literally, as selfish as could possibly be, but in pure, true, positive polarity, which is self-love. not self-hate.
Now, I know when you were younger, you did grow up in the church.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been um, serving Jesus since before 9 months before I was born, so it's like, so I was raised in that whole church environment. And so I can see the nutrients and the waste. I can see the benefit, and I can see the poison.
Yeah, you always would say that you can still see there is truth in the Bible, but like you're not going to just believe it by heart, but you can still find like take what resonates, leave what doesn't type of stuff. And I like that you constantly push. I honestly never read the Bible. I didn't grow up religious, so it's like I didn't have that, like, not brainwashing, but you know what I mean. I wasn't forced into it, so I kind of like was just like this, and then I found like spirituality and all that.
Yeah, there's a level of indoctrination that comes with being raised in anything.
Yeah, of course.
People think they're Americans. They think they're Russians.
Right.
They think they think they should be basketball players or rappers, doctors or lawyers. I mean, where do these concepts come from? There's an indoctrination from the second you come out of the canal of water, where you're hijacked and thrown into a straw man society that completely looks at you as a piece of lost cargo, a dead on arrival, a lost at sea, operating on maritime law systems. And they trade you as collateral on Wall Street against national debt. They never consider you a living vessel. And, when you start to really see the prison planet for what it is, it's an energy and a vibration that is language and sight and vision. It's not these computer chips. And so, when you can tap into that, then you can really be able to kind of navigate your journey through here. And rather you had a Bible or not. But when you open the Bible, if you've been navigating with self and with source coding and pursuing pure love and things, then when a scripture pops out that says, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, does it matter if it was in the Bible? Does it matter if that was taken from the Enuma Elish or the Atrahasis or the Eridu Genesis or these ancient cuneiform texts? Does it matter if it came from there? And when you see them on those tablets, does that automatically mean that that's exactly what it was? Was that the beginning of it? Was there something before that tablet? It's like, you're never going to find the pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. So you have to go inside of yourself and find out that all the gold and treasure that you've ever been looking for has been deposited inside of you, because it's the only place that it could be trusted to actually be safe. And so that's why it's just like, the Bible's wonderful. I'm glad the Bible's here, and I'm glad it's here. But with just, complete vagueness and no intentionality, the Bible is a dangerous weapon that will get you to believe that the world must go in a certain direction, that all these things must happen, and plagues and death and all. And I'm like, if universal consciousness agrees with that, then sure, that's going to be the timeline. But no, I'm not being led by what that book is saying. If it's going to lead to something low vibrational, I don't understand that at all. But others, they just, like children, watch Humpty Dumpty sit on the wall and they recite the poems. And that's better than nothing. But most of humanity is still being kept as a child. And we're here to help them grow up. But I can only do that as an example of me growing up, which is not a pretty situation. And most people just want to be pretty now. They want to they filter everything. And they don't ever want to get to the real organic root of what the situation is, because it takes a lot. And most of humanity now has been indoctrinated with something deeper than laziness. It's deeper than sluggard. I don't want to do anything, so I'm defaulting everything to someone else. So I'm going to vote for a president. I'm going to vote for this, or I'm going to get in a relationship and expect that person to now all of a sudden be my slave or something. It's just like, I'm the man, I'm running the house. And I'm like, what? Where do these concepts come from? Who told you man was better than woman? It's like, well, who told you that? No different than Brother Malcolm asking you, who told you to hate the color of your skin? Like these type of things. It's just like, bro, like, and even in some forms of Christianity, calling Malcolm, Brother Malcolm, they would look at that like, what do you mean? You trying to be an Islam Muslim now? And like, it's divisive. We're human. We're one entity. That doesn't matter if I'm reading this book or that book. Your background over there with the images on the wall can give me the same nutrients that the Bible could give me if I have the eye to see, to interpret and to feel and to hear. So it doesn't really matter. But I'm thankful the Bible's here. But you probably saved yourself a lot of reprogramming by not being indoctrinated.
My friend growing up, I went to church with her twice, and the pastor can tell I was like awkward and never been there. And he just did one of those things, like, "Come up here, baby," and I was like, oh, I started crying because I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
"We're gonna save you, baby."
yeah. It's extremely ritualistic up in there. There's a lot of rituals happening, and a lot of them don't even know. They have no clue. And so I did. I did go. Part of my ascension process when coming out of that into this, one of the first things you're going to encounter is anger at these leaders, at these pastors, these bishops and stuff, because you're going to start seeing these things. You're going to be like, you mean to tell me you've been pastoring this church for 40 years and you ain't never once in your life questioned that, or you ain't never seen this? Someone like me sees all of this, and it's almost like, are you really working for God, or are you working for, Rome, and it's like, it gets mad, you get upset, because you realize that this whole time these dudes have been running a show, whether they knew it or not. These, not just guys, but obviously these leaders. And then it's like, okay, what happened to Jesus between the age of 8 and 30? Again, why is that nowhere to be found in this book? I mean, that's crucial to me, because I'm like, if you're like 25 or 26 or something, shouldn't you know? It's like, where's the path? Jesus' character never got married. How can you tell me about marriage? It's like just normal questions. But in there, Yeshua. yeah, exactly. Then when I start seeing Jeshua, because Kanye came out with the Yeshua, which is a total different story. Like I was teaching on these things for quite some time, but people started trying to accept what I was teaching as if that was law. And I was like, I can't prove this either, but it resonates at a vibration that's a little bit different. And I'm like, so rather his name was Jesus, Yeshua, Jeshua, whatever, it's supposed to be pure love, right? So let's just call it pure love and get away from all the divisive tactics. Well, most of them don't want to do that because they need you to believe in Jesus or go burn in hell forever. And I'm like, how does that even make sense? Because Donna didn't even go to church as a kid. So you mean to tell me now she got to go burn in hell forever? She would have died. If she would have died in a car accident last year because she never found Jesus. It's like, what are y'all talking about? It doesn't even make sense. What parent would punish their child for not knowing the answer when the child was never even given the correct information? Like, who would do that? And then punish them for eternity? Like, there's nothing even solid sound about that. It is complete fear porn. And that's why it's just like, good God. And then when you reveal the Johnson Amendment in actual governmental documentation, it's called the Johnson Amendment, you really see who runs the church. Caesar, Rome. This is still Rome, by the way, for people who don't know. It's a combination of Rome and Egypt. But it's always been Egypt, by the way. This is actual Egypt, not that fake stuff you see over there in that sand-filled place.
Oh, you paused.
But when you start seeing these things panning out, you're like, hold on, bro. Like, stuff don't even make sense. You know what I mean? So we just try to connect them to the true source so they can find their path.
Can you go into the Johnson thing? Well, I wasn't familiar with that.
So the Johnson Amendment, it basically stops ministers, bishops, pastors, whatever, from ever holding an officially elected office in government. Okay. So it's a reiteration of church and state. And then by doing so, by them agreeing to this, they're able to collect tithes and offerings tax-free. Oh, okay. So when it hits the fan and they say, hey, close your doors because we're trying to pull off the biggest hijack of this century with this COVID bullshit, then what's the church got to do? They got to go close their doors. They got to answer to daddy government because that's who owns them. Mm-hmm. So, and it's like, there've been some pastors and some bishops and some ministers and some teachers and evangelists and apostles and whatever you want to call them that have always been pursuing true love and purity. And they've always had some friction with the way churches are ran. They're typically silenced at church meetings and stuff like that. And they kind of just play their role. Mm-hmm. But they started stepping up a lot in the past year or two. And there were people like my mother who believed Jesus down the cross and stuff like that. But she's been pure in heart, who was asking the same questions that I was asking 2 years ago, like, where's their faith? Or last year when I was like, where's their faith when they're running down to get a needle put in their arm? Like, do you think your Jesus would have drove the bus down to the needle clinic for everyone to get needles? I thought Jesus was enough. I thought he was the master healer. Let y'all tell it. But now you need a needle. Now you need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 because your pastor said so. Well, who told your pastor that? Your pastor can't think. Your pastor can't see beyond this. Why does the pastor think that the answer is to stick yourself with a needle? So it's just another example. And so my mom began to see some other things too. Now she still believes Jesus died on the cross, rose from the dead, all these things. And I'm a believer to it because it helps make her a more pure person in purity in heart. Even though I can recognize that in all mom's wisdom and elderness, she's still a child in the concepts of these stories and these symbols. But it's okay. The generation before us have done what they were supposed to do. They got us here. And now we are supposed to do what we need to do, which first and foremost is connect with yourself and think for yourself and take all of that and then be able to go forward. But there's a lot of people that don't have a mom like that, and their parents are really trying to lock them back into what the old traditions were without ever questioning anything until we shall overcome one day. Someday we shall overcome, but how? Without knowledge, the people perish. That's in the Bible as well. There's a lot of things in the Bible, but they treat the Bible like it's a buffet. Oh, I'm gonna get 2 scoops of this. I'm gonna get a little bit of that. I don't want none of that though. And they just kind of just pick all around. Because when you look in the Old Testament, you'll find them summoning up the dead and having conversations with the dead, like witches summoning up the dead. This is all in your Bible. You'll find these entities that I call the Anunnaki, you find them all in there in the form of Nephilim and these huge giants and all these things. And it's just like, why do we always just go to Jesus down and rise from the dead? What about all of this stuff?
I don't know why no one ever questions King James. There's so much knowledge on what kind of person he was. It's right there. It's like, just read his book. So,
My God. And then obviously there's a laundry list of all the names of people that they don't question. But like, even with, like you said, with King James, it's like, you guys just didn't question anything. And I get it, because it would have been off with your head back in 1500s and 1600s and 1700s. It's last time I checked, they say it's 2022. You just go, even Google will tell you about King James, and they normally censor everything. You normally got to go to DuckDuckGo or something. Yeah. You can just Google King James and find out what type of entity he was. And you mean to tell me you're just going to completely trust his interpretation of some other ancient texts? And the King James didn't translate this, his scribes did. And there are very few scribes back then. And scribes, even in the Bible, like the disciples that are in the Bible, they really didn't even exist per se. But none of them could read or write. The ones that, whatever these entities are that we're talking about, and Luke was a physician, but he couldn't write either. When you was a physician back then, you was more of an herbalist. You didn't have the right prescriptions. You literally made contractions for people to be healed. So it's like these dudes couldn't read or write. So who wrote this stuff? Because when it was canonized, when it was written, before it was even canonized, when they started putting the canonizations together, everybody in the modern Bible was already deceased. Nobody was alive and breathing when they put it together. They could have said anything they want to say about anybody. And then it gets to King James. And then he has another sinister method behind it with controlling people. And if you don't believe any of those things that Donna and I are talking about, you can just go Google slave Bibles right here in your modern thing that you call America, just with your modern plantation, with your modern, we shall overcome Negro spiritual situations. And you look at the Bibles they gave them. They took out damn near everything in there that led to any form of freedom and gave them a very small, narrow-minded, view. And then when you look at indigenous natives, which all of us are to this landmass, there really is very few people who migrated from Africa on slave ships. But when you look at the indigenous natives that were here, and you look at like some of these indigenous tribes that we would call like Hopi Indian and stuff like that, you'll start to find the tales and the stories. And I think they even have one of the Bibles where in their Bible that they gave them, it said that their tribe killed Jesus Christ. And if they don't repent, they're all going to burn in hell. And they all was like, oh no. And they all said, because they didn't know what this stuff was. And so you mean to tell me for thousands of years, they've been communing with earth, with life, with nature. We all know indigenous natives respected nature. Before they would lay a buffalo down, they would love it. They would gracefully lay it down. They would use every piece of it for food, for shelter, for all these things. They believed in unity with one. But because they didn't believe Jesus down on the cross, and all of that purity and love burns in hell forever. And so it's been that way. And more people have died from the cross than they have from anything else. And especially when you look at that European conquest. And that doesn't sound like something I want to be a part of. And then to add injury to insult, every single month, normally the first Sunday, they do mock cannibalism and eating the flesh and drinking the blood of Jesus. And I'm like, but you guys said that was witchcraft. And matter of fact, you said that was wrong for them
well, why is it okay for y'all to act like this is blood and flesh and you? It's like, what is going on in here? It's rituals. It's rituals. And over 2 billion people on earth claim to be Christians. I'm like, so why is Satan winning it? If there's a church on every corner, and out of 327 million Americans currently on Census Bureau papers, who knows how many were killed or whatever this past 2 years, 296 million of them have said that they go to church. There's a church on every corner, in every hood, in every community. So why is Satan winning? Well, that's because there's a Satan's churches. Well, do you really think an oppressive regime would allow you the opportunity? I ask people, I ask them all the time, I said, when have you ever, I said, you guys know anybody that's went to prison? Anybody? And then most of us do. I'm like, when they went to prison and they took all their stuff and they stripped them of their clothes, hosed them down and threw them in there with all these gorillas and all these monsters, did anybody give them a manual on how to break out the prison? I'm like, no. So why the hell do you think your prison wardens here will give you an actual manual on how to get out? It don't work that way. So it's like, if you're not questioning these things and going within, you're never going to find your way, because the way out is within. And so that's what we do at True Life. You know, like I said, we could talk about this stuff forever, but I did get the beefing with pastors, and I had to heal, and I had to be okay, and I had to respect the law of free will, but I also had to guard my portals and block myself away. But I can still gain a nutrient from a bishop or a pastor or something, especially when it comes to leadership. If these guys have been leading these ministries for 30 and 40 years, there's something I can at least learn from them as far as how to put up with people, you know, or something like that. Like, there's things I can learn. Tax laws. How do you do this when you're running a 20,000 member? How do you stay relevant? You know, who's running your video ministry? Like, there's things I can learn from them.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do with the salvation of my soul, for real. It's like, nah, my soul doesn't need saving. The only thing it needs is to continue to find more love and to continue to grow and evolve. That's the only thing that we truly need as far as whatever salvation is supposed to be.
Yeah. You know, I learned about Cbos through you back in 2020, and I'm so grateful for the knowledge you shared with me, because I've been taking it for the past 2 years, and honestly, it's really helped me. I've only gotten sick once in the past 2 years. Right. And I honestly think it's because of Cbos.
Right. Yeah. And it's probably because you're putting a higher vibration into it before you consume it, which some people will call, you know, praying over your food. Yeah. You know, as our vibration and energy ascends and goes higher, then everything that we touch and everything that we're intentional about will raise up as well and be able to become more prolific. It can manifest in the form of Chondrus crispus, the Cbos that I teach on, because there's some fake strands, then there's some mid-grade Caribbean strands, and it's like weed or anything else. Like, all weed is not the same. They do different things. But yeah, there's speculation out there now. There's a doctor that says that he's tested this stuff and it does not hit 92 of your minerals. It really hits like 11. And I'm thinking to myself, like, hey, you know what? Even if that was true, I'll take it for the 11 that is pure from the ocean before I take any of that trash that's in that thing they call a grocery store. Yeah. And so, like you said, like, even if it's not doing it all, it's doing way better than what that trash was doing. And disease can't exist within an alkaline body. So, you know, I mean, the Cbos alkalines your body just the same way that, you know, organic, green leaves and stuff will do, organic fruits, these things, you know, coconut, especially coconut water. Organic coconut water is the best thing you could drink for your body. Because most people think we need H2O. When you don't, you need H2, it's H2O2 or H2O3. It's the water that comes out of fruit, and coconuts produce like the highest percentage of it. And all of the water that we drink is dead. I know people don't want to hear that, but water dies within 48 to 72 hours. If you check the bottle that you bought today, it probably was packaged 6, 7, 8 months ago before it ever even made it to you. It has no life left in it. So when we drink these waters, I like to still get mine from like an artesian spring in like New Zealand or somewhere, because it's free from all the trash, and it can help liquefy me to a place where I can continue to move things through my body, but it's not adding to me what I need. And so the Cbos adds to you, the coconut water adds to you. These things will add to you, but they're still not perfect, because we live in an imperfect prison planet. So we just do the best that we can. And I'm glad to hear that you've been free from any form of inflammations and stuff, because mucus is all it is. And that's why I love Dr. Sebi, but I like to remind people that Sebi didn't know it all the same way that I don't know it all. Yeah. If my light was to get cut off today, like, and I was to transcend into some other dimension, don't take what I'm saying as alpha and omega, because that's not even Chris. That's not even how you operate. There is no beginning and end. Time is not linear like that. And that the brain can't process that in multiple points because we're inside of a video game. But that's not how we are. Time is not linear. This thing will continue to move. So no matter what I've said before about Cbos or something, it's going to continue to evolve in education. We're going to learn more things about these things. But I'm glad that I was able to send something to you. My brother sent it to me. That's how I started getting involved with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm a completely organic cat. You know what I mean? Everything in this house is organic.
Yeah, let us know about if someone was trying to become alkaline or be organic, what are some tips that you would give them?
Well, first, buy organic. Like it says it right on the box. You know, it says it right there, organic. You know, and it's got that seal. It's even though we can't trust anything with a label. It's been touched by man. We do the best that we can, realizing that there's strict penalties for individuals who spray pesticides on any form of organic food. So we want to be free from pesticides. So definitely buy organic. And just because it says non-GMO does not mean it's organic. Non-GMO food can be non-GMO and still have pesticides in it. And just because it says it's organic doesn't mean it's organic to the way that it was created in nature, because now the modern bananas that we eat, you can go buy an organic banana from the store, but it's not organic really, because real organic bananas have seeds in them and they're also black. So it's like, is that really an organic banana? You go in there and find, oh, organic seedless grapes.
It's my favorite.
Seedless grapes, organic? Like, it's like, what? Like, how can it be seedless and be organic? So, you know, you have to use your discernment, but stay away from all American water, if possible. If you find a spring water that you know, maybe it's a budget crisis, and it's from America, then do the best you can. But all this bottled water that says it's alkaline, it literally is just baking soda in there. There is no alkaline water out there. I mean, the only way you could really get alkaline water is if you was filling your jug from this water spring itself and drinking it right then. There's a Kangen water machines. They infuse the water with this hydrogen. But
Trust the Kagan water machines. I've heard mixed reviews from it.
Yeah, I got a buddy that's really high in sales at the company. He swears by it. I've seen the microscopic videos of the blood flowing, and it makes sense when you infuse the hydrogen. But there is a mixed debate out there as if this is the actual form of hydrogen that's supposed to be in the body, because this form of hydrogen seems to add more density to you, and that may not be in your best interest when you're trying to ascend spiritually. Maybe it satisfies the zoot suit called flesh, but it can literally start to maybe imprison your spirit even more. I don't know. All I know is before I put anything into my vessel, I consecrate it through an intentional prayer. And my prayers are typically, when I'm commanding over it, that it's, bringing me health and wealth, and it's free from any negative issues. And I also add, just this purity and this Christic love to anyone that had anything to do with it getting here to me. So all those assembly line workers and truck drivers and anyone that had any effort in this water getting to me today, I'm sending them all this true light in the water, through the water, and all the way through the assembly line. Because I realize that it's not water I'm drinking. It's a computer program, no different than the Matrix. But this avatar needs these things. And because I'm in an imperfect place, I have the power as a God to change everything and shift it back into its original format, into the original source code. And that takes intentionality. But a lot of people don't see themselves as a God. They think it's blasphemous because of religions. And they fail to harness into the power that they have within as a piece of that creator of all creation. And so they null and void themselves from anything. And so, like Harry Potter or anything else, if you don't really have the faith and it don't matter how you whip that wand, it ain't never going to do nothing. So you have to activate that power from within, and then you'll be able to start to see your menu. I'm a big chickpea fan. Chickpeas are incredible. They're an original organic food substance. Potatoes and broccoli and cauliflower and all these things are not organic to this. These are lab creations. Potatoes were created in labs, carrots were created in labs, broccoli was created in labs, cauliflower was created in labs. All these things are not organic to us. Doesn't mean that you can't go eat them. Just know that when you're eating vegetables and greens, it's cleaning your body out. You put fruits into your body, that feeds your body.
The green cleans you out. The fruit adds to you. You should be cleaning out with green, adding with fruit. No meat, no dairy, none of that stuff. So it's like, I mean, good luck, along the journey, because everyone's different. And it's not that you go organic and then you live forever. It's like, I know people that are vegans and all, and they could drop dead right now. It's just, but the Kangen machine, it seems like it helps.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you got $5,000 to go use on it, where's the water coming from that's going into the Kangen machine? Out of a poison municipal tap. I'm not a fan of that. So you got to put another filter on that before it even goes into the machine. I want the Kangen machines that allow me to hook up my New Zealand artesian spring water and be able to take that pure water that's free from pesticides and garbage and then bring it back to life. That's what I want. Doesn't exist currently right now. I would, it's scary to think of what would happen to the human body if you was able to actually give it what it needs. I mean, we literally would probably be able to,
super
like literally throw flames and bust down walls and all types of stuff, because that's the gods that we are. And they're literally, this whole prison plan is designed to keep us all at a very bare minimum so we can be controlled. No different than when you watch, the depictions of what happened during the Holocaust or something like that, or the depictions of what happened in the fields in Georgia, Mississippi, or something like that. You can just look at how physical manifestations of slavery operate, and then you can get the spiritual slavery on top of it. That's what we live in. Russia's not at beef with Ukraine. Ukraine's not in beef with Russia. America's not beefing with China. All these little demons are all on the same page. It's all part of the same thing. Keep humanity embedded in this low vibration. Trump's not coming to save the day. He didn't do anything for 5G or any of that stuff. He actually hurried up and sped up Operation Warp Speed to stick y'all with the needles to keep you locked down in low vibration in the first place. Mm-hmm. So, as long as you keep looking at somebody else to fix your problems, you'll continue to be a slave.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. I know you got to go, Stu. I just got 2 more questions. What do you feel about a bunch of I'm not calling out any names. I appreciate everybody for what they gave. And sometimes I don't resonate with everybody, but I feel like there's a lot of conscious leaders, so to say, pushing the metaverse and all of that. What are your thoughts on the metaverse?
It's funny because the past 3 months I've been real heavy in NFTs, and right now I'm teaching NFT master classes because this is something that I'm very fond on is, like I said, being the true light and then stepping into your fields with it. Uh-huh. For everyone, and the metaverse is not for everyone, right? Because for one, you already live in a metaverse. Yeah. This is a metaverse. This is a computer simulation program. I know people don't want to, it's fine. I'm not assigned to everyone, but to those who have the eye to see and the ear to hear, which is not these computer chips, it shouldn't take you but so long to realize that this cannot be the actual source program right now. This can't be, because it's so oppressive and so lack, that's nothing about creative creation would have that type of energy. So you're in a metaverse. Then for the metaverse that they're creating now, there's multiple metaverses. There's not just one, just like there's not just one universe, right? So if you don't know who you are right now, and you cannot find self right now, and you can't find self-love right now, and you can't pursue your self-identity right now, then you have no business being in that. Because all that's going to do is take you deeper into the dream, like the movie Inception with Tom Cruise. It becomes a dream within a dream. And anyone that's seen that movie knows the dangers of going into a dream within a dream. Everything moves so slow, which is what density is, and the dangers of you never being able to come back out, because it could literally, what would take you in that dream 100 years would just be 10 years in this dream, and then would have only been 1 year in this reality. So if you decide to go deep into this metaverse stuff and virtual and VR without knowing who you are, now it's like really wide open season for any form of energies and entities to be able to, gain possession of you. Now, without that, if you know who you are, then it's just wide open, gold rush. It's like, it's no different than everything going on around here. If you're into buying real estate here in the third dimensional manifestation that you call life, buy real estate in the metaverse. People are going to need that. That's booming. If you have a, let's say you have a freaking clothing company here in the real world, and especially if you got a storefront. And most people don't have storefronts anymore. They just do digital, and they have warehouse drop shipping or something like that, which is good because it works great in the metaverse. You can build a store in the metaverse,
And now somebody in Saudi Arabia who's in the Metaverse program, who's in your Metaverse program, can walk into your store and buy a piece of lingerie for their wife. And then you get the notification in California or Phoenix, and then you just mail it to them in Saudi Arabia. The transaction happened as if they walked into your store, but they would have never known about you if they had to physically come to Phoenix, Arizona to walk into your store because they live in Saudi Arabia. So now we don't have those borders anymore, and we're able to go in there and interact. This is why the person that bought the plot of land next to Snoop's house paid $250,000 for that plot of land, because in that now he can, in the metaverse, he could go over to Snoop's house and hang and party with Snoop in real time without them physically being together. So if they ever meet each other out here in this physical third dimension, he's like, yo, man, I'm your neighbor in the metaverse, man. I'm Don Juan. Like, oh, what's up, nephew? Hey, I mean, like, because now we good. We've been kicking it in the metaverse. We're good people. So from my mindset, I can see, us having our business meetings in the metaverse, us networking, having networking events in the metaverse. But it's not from a fear perspective that I don't want to be around physical people, which some people are blinded by that. They're like, yo, we need to do metaverse because COVID. And I'm like, man, golly, like, bro, COVID is an agenda, bro. It's not even, I don't know what you guys talking about. Poison is poison, but I'm not going to spend my whole time in the metaverse. And I'm definitely not going to go in there if I don't know who I am in this metaverse right now. Like, I got to connect with the God within. And then the NFTs are literally just, I mean, that's a whole nother talk and another thing. But crypto, NFTs, and metaverse, there's no way this is not the way. This is the future of everything that you call life right now. So you need to get educated and get involved with it. But you need to find yourself first before you do anything. Rather, that's going to go buy a car, get in a relationship, have a child, get married. You know what I mean? Whatever it is that you got going on right here, if you don't know who you are, you need to kind of like just step away from everything and find yourself. Then you can go into these other fractions of life. And I don't really have a problem with the metaverse, but I have a problem with low vibrational entities when they have the gun in their hand. It's not the gun that I'm afraid of. It's the individual holding the gun and their mindset. That's when it becomes a problem. So you're hearing about people getting raped in the metaverse. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense to me right now. I'm like, you're mad that somebody like attacked you in a video game. And I'm like, have you ever played Grand Theft Auto? Like, I'm like, that's all the game is. It's somebody beating you up and stealing money from hookers and all types of stuff. But you took it personally because somebody did it to you digitally.
All I hear is houseway.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. But they do now have suits that you can wear. You can put the whole suit on, and you can put it on. You can put it on your genitals, whatever. You can feel it, and you can also feel moisture now, also with the suit on.
Oh wow!
So it opens up a whole new door for all these sex sites and all the prostitution and stuff like that. And the streetwalkers are going to find it difficult to keep walking the street because the individuals in the metaverse are the ones that's got the money to pay for the sex in the metaverse. So from one perspective, somebody's like,
metaverse, they're probably making bank.
Metaverse is making big bank, but that's what I'm saying, because you can switch the digital face off of the individual, and you could be having sex with a celebrity, for example. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really going down that way, but if you let's say you live on one side of the country, your spouse is on the other side of the country, for they maybe in the military or something like that. That spouse can put that piece on, you can put your piece on, and you guys can actually be feeling what it feels like for that person to be there in that moment, without them actually physically being there in that moment. So for a streetwalker, this will cut down on pregnancies and diseases and all these other things. But the mindset behind of it is a little warped. No different than like the Joe Biden shit with $60 or $80 million to go buy crack pipes and stuff to try to help people take their drugs in a safe way. It's like, how about we stop drugs, right? Because you guys are the ones that's pumping the fucking drugs. You made the drugs, you put them out here, you're drugging everyone to death all the time. How about you guys just stop being so low vibrational and let's help humanity ascend? They're never going to do that. It doesn't matter if it's Biden, Trump, Putin, you know what I mean? Whoever, it don't matter. Trudeau, it doesn't matter who these individuals are that we're talking about right now. They're going to replace Fauci with Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz is going to do the same shit that Fauci was doing, this at a whole nother level. No different than when they replaced Cuomo in New York. Now they brought in this more demon witch lady who's wearing a chain around her neck that says Vax. You know what I mean? It's like, it's
scabinated.
Yeah, it's the same operation. You know what I mean? It's the same operation. So I'm just like, if you stop, the game stops. And if all of us would stop, the whole game would stop. If everyone would just stop paying bills, stop working, all of this shit, it would just all crumble. But is that really going to ever be able to happen? I mean, something divine would have to happen for all of humanity to just stop. And I'm not wanting to hoping and leaning into that type of stuff. The Bible says there's one verse in there that says this generation looks for wonders in the sky, signs in heaven, but it says that no wonders and no signs will be given to them. And so you have to stop and process and think what this means. It's like, what I hear is stop looking external for anything and go internal. And then as I have that daily walk, that internal walk, the things that I go through in life begin to catch up to me and where I'm ascending up to. And I can have my perspective, but that's my perspective. It won't work for someone else. So for me, I'm all good with the metaverse. For someone else, it's an absolute no. And it needs to be, because they don't even know who the hell they are right now. They're just a program running right now. So if they go in that joint, they might not never come back out. They might not never come out. They'll be stuck in a corner somewhere. And that's what they said at the World Economic Forum. They said you will own nothing and you will be happy. Not me. I'm gonna own it all and be happy.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of that from Billy Carson also, who's another one of my coaches.
Yeah. Talk to us about Thoth real quick. I know you and Billy Carson have different
yeah, we don't agree with Thoth, Tahuti, you know what I mean? Like all these all these names, because and it's okay because we agree, but we don't agree as to which. According to my teachings, there was this Christic side, and for those, I keep saying the word Christic. Christic means having the highest level of consciousness and spirit and purity and truth. It's where the word Christ is derived from. The word Christ, this word Christ right here, apparently is the beginnings of our language, Kara, Iseta, and some other things. That's another story that's been told to me. I'm not here to tell you it's absolutely true. So when I say Christic, I mean having that highest level. There's this side of Thoth that appears to be extremely Christic and pure and a guardian and this wonderful being. And then when he's commissioned with overseeing this whole humanity being brought back into a higher level of consciousness after the last reset that was caused by his dad and his uncle, then, which is something else that they should really stop and think about, then it's like he flips and becomes this power, greedy, hungry, egotistical maniac that literally tried to take it all for himself. And the Guardians had to cut off what's known as the mass ascension because he was trying to take it all for himself and becomes Lucifer, the original Lucifer, which is the bearer of the false light. Thoth himself becomes the false light. And it was like, man, this is a deep story. I can't prove it, but it's like, but with Billy like believes Thoth is like the savior of the world. It might as well be what Christians think Jesus is. And so I don't agree with that. But I learned so much from Billy, and it is what it is. And then Billy just posted that he didn't even know. He just showed he went to his brain surgeon thing, and Billy suffered a major traumatic brain injury. And I don't even think he was aware of it. And it has affected his ability to process and learn, as smart and as wise as he is. And so it just serves as a reminder again that we're all flawed. So none of us are right and none of us are wrong. We just are. And it's like, if that story of Thoth helps Billy continue to want to go out here and help unite the 99% and bring the world back into love, because that's what he says. He says, we're here to save the world. We're here to literally change the world into love. I'm not going to argue with him about that. But when he puts Thoth on a pedestal, and I say, I'm not sure about that, maybe at one point in time,
yeah,
and I came to him very politely and respectfully. And we have respectful conversations about this. And the first time I sent him information on it, he respectfully hit me back and said he had never seen this information before. So at least he was open to even just hearing about it. Yeah. And that to me, that's the only way that we can actually learn, which is why the statement trust the science makes no sense to me, because trusting the science means questioning. That's literally the only way that we get to the next big breakthrough that gives this dude a Nobel Peace Prize or something. This is how we gain these accreditations, to question the science is the only way that you can actually trust it, and so that's these I got it figured out individuals. I just stay all the way away from them. But with someone like Billy and them, Billy never comes off like that, but he and I also don't agree when it comes to Earth. He literally will mock you if you believe that it's flat. Mm-hmm. I would feel like mocking someone who believed that it wasn't flat.
Right.
But I'm in true light. So I'm not into this, my way is right or wrong. It's just that we do all the tests and the tests come back and say that it's flat. Right. I don't really care. I only care from a perspective of getting outside of the ice walls and to rest of what's been hidden from us. and getting into those dispensations of other geographical locations here, because outside of the ice walls are massive civilizations and massive communities of individuals who I believe don't even know that we're here, that are our actual ancestors and elders, that we are literally under a permanent dome. We are boxed in with this ice wall situation, and we're encapsulated in a you can't call it another. We're just in a prison, and we're just trying to get out, you know. And so I was like, I'm not going to beef with these cats, but if they feel like that it's just them, their way is the way, then I automatically have to tap out. So, but yeah, I could teach on Thoth all the time and how he's Enki's son. Enki was the one that was supposed to be Lord over this earth. His name literally means Lord Earth. Ki is what they used to call this place, according to the ancient texts. And his brother Enlil is the one that actually gets the dispensation, because his mother was born before Enki's mother. Their father's name is Anu, and there's a whole lineage before him. He's not the beginning. He's not the Most High God or anything like that. And Enlil is Satan. So when you talk about, in these descriptions, when you talk about Satan and Lucifer, Lucifer is Satan's nephew. It wouldn't make sense, you know, and it's just a family lineage, and they're just here pillaging and bloodlined it up. And that makes sense when you look at the bloodlines and you see that 15% of our populace has Rh negative blood, and it's pure, and they interbreed, which is why all these queens and kings and monarchs look so disgusting, because they're an incest pool. They interbreed with one another, and they want to keep their blood pure. The question is why? And then you start to see about the power of the blood. And then you see why they drilled into your head about Jesus so much with the power of the blood, because they know there's power in the blood. They just didn't tell you the whole story. So it's like, it is what it is. But once we step away from all of it, none of this shit matters. We're just spirit. So why sit here and get into these debates and arguments with individuals about physical manifestations of things that we can't even prove? Let's just be true to pure love within. And that's all there is. And then we can all just go and grow and have fun, and then embrace whatever childlike energies we want while still growing up and evolving. We shouldn't be forced to stay kids forever. And this is that I don't want to be a kid forever.
You don't want to be Peter Pan?
I was about to say that, and I don't want to be a Toys R Us. These were rituals they drilled into us. They have us singing this shit. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. Like, it's like, and then it just keeps leaking and leaking and leaking and leaking into your conscious, and you don't even know it. And you wonder why when you're 40 and 50 years old, you fucking hate adulthood, because everything about it is poison now, and you've been poisoned growing up about it. And so now we look at all these grown-ass kids walking around and wonder why life is so fucked up, because no one's taking accountability or responsibility for their actions. Everyone's defaulting it to someone else. It's someone else's fault. And the moment that you don't agree with them or they don't agree with you, they just block you, unfollow you. They don't even have to think about it. They just blah, 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 blah. And they go right back into more foolishness. That's why I'm literally just like, you know what I mean? I don't even come up here and do a lot of these no more, because there's not really a lot of these to do. People want to talk about stuff that's like,
Yeah, we didn't talk about one current event fact. We're just keeping it flowing with the universe.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I mean, like, we did say something about some Russia or whatever, but it's like, it's none of this shit matters.
Yeah.
Like, none of it matters. I get it. Let's pray for them. Pray for Ukraine. But you should be praying for all of humanity every day anyway. Why does it take a war for you to care about what's going on in Russia and Ukraine? I'm not saying that you got to be a geographical master and no, I don't know all the damn countries and everything going on all around, but I know that we are one. And when I pray for me, I pray for y'all. When I pray for y'all, I pray for me. That's all it is. And so it's like, I'm not about to sit here and deal with this, but the people that are hurting in Russia and Ukraine or whatever, there's people hurting right here in LA and in Orange County and in Phoenix and in Vegas and all. There's people, somebody died that they didn't have shit to do with no bombs or no missiles. Somebody car went off a road, or some kid, choked, or something. Like, there's death all around you. There's all types of pain and struggle. You walk right past them every single day. You don't pray for them. You don't send no love to them. Man, a person could be standing in front of you at the grocery store and they 68 cents short on groceries. You just sit there. You don't be like, hey, I got it, man. Nothing there's no love. You know what I mean? And so that's why we just push love. But you can't give something you don't have. So you have to give it to yourself first. And the more you give it to yourself, you'll start to, like the Bible says, the Bible has a verse that says, get the plank out of your eye before you worry about the splinter in someone else's.
It's like literally the Bible is littered with so much wisdom, but it's then encapsulated in poison. Like it's like a Trojan horse almost. It could be either or. It's like it's given to you like it's something great, but inside of it is this real venomous poison for those who don't know how to spot the poison. And you just keep consuming it and consuming it and consuming it. And then it just brainwashes you and takes you over. And then if they can get you with religion, they can get you with anything. If they can get you with skin tone, they can get you with anything. It's a lot of people that think that they are this, you know, and that was a whole nother, just because the carbon in you is at a 9 level with your melanin.
I know. It's like, if you don't have melanin, you ain't worthy. And I'm like, I get it. I like melanin too, but I don't want to operate. Like, that's why I resonate with what you said. Like, and I'm in an interracial relationship, and I always feel like, oh man, you're not conscious enough. You're dating a white man. Screw you, bitch. And I'm like, what does it fucking matter, dude? Like, I'm here just trying to spread love. Like, why do you care what penis goes inside my hoo-ha? Like,
feel me?
Who cares?
It's not yours. So you care about. Yeah. And like you said, like the skin doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start teaching reincarnation and how the prison planet really works,
Right.
and the solar system that lures your soul, it's the soul lure system. And it lures you into their false white light. That's why I always say, go into the white light. It's a false white light that I believe is actually the moon, which is why in the Disney cartoon Soul, you saw everybody's, the elevator belt was headed to the moon. And dude is like, I don't belong here. And he's trying to get off the elevator belt. And they put these holographic simulations in your minds now as Jesus and Buddha and all these things, so that when your body drops, you'll just follow them blindly right back into the reincarnation cycle. And when you get reincarnated back in here, you don't know what fucking suit you're gonna get. You might come back in here as a carbon 3, which is what we would call the Caucasoid, or you might come in as a carbon 9, which would be the Negroid, or a carbon 6, which would be the Mongoloid. And these things, you don't know what you're coming in here for. Why don't you try to access why you're here? And then if you have more carbon, find out what that could be used for to help push forth humanity into the right direction of love and truth and joy and happiness. Because you're not this zoot suit. You're none of this. Like even in religion, they taught you this, that the flesh is a mess and you're not, this is not who you are. Even in religion, they told you this is not your home. And these type of things, it's like, yeah, it can be a home, but they even tell you in scripture, they would say, that Jesus would say, in my Father's house is many mansions. That's what they would say. Everybody couldn't wait to die to go to heaven and get their mansion and walk down the streets of gold. And I'm like, bro, listen to the imagery and find what that means within inside of you. It's no place out there that's gold streets and mansions inside of mansions. And if it is, bro, you should be in it right now, right here. Because if you really study Jeshua, and some of the deleted parts of Jeshua's teachings that were deleted out of the current King James and stuff in modern Bibles, you'll find some of the manifestation principles that Jeshua really taught, because Jeshua also taught mystery schools in these type of things that we're doing, ascension mechanics, that in order for you to actually manifest something, you have to be in it right now in totality. So if I'm sick, or if someone I know is sick, the best way to heal them through the power that's invested inside of us is for me to already operate and act internally and externally as if the healing has already occurred. And I mean, not for theater, from a purity, because your faith is so strong and you know who you are and you know what you're connected to and you know the power that's in you, that it has no way of not being what you already are. So I'm like, woo, I can't believe grandma already healed, man. Grandma doing great. People will call you crazy. They'll tell you you're insane. And they did the same thing to this Jesus entity all through the Bible. And be like, one time there was a dude named Jairus, his daughter had died, or his daughter was dying. And this Jairus cat is a well-known dude. He's high ranking in the military in Rome, and he like politics. And he goes to find Jesus walking down the road. Jesus always moving and healing. People all around him. And this woman that they call the woman with the issue of blood grabs Jesus as him, according to these stories. Now, these just all stories. And Jesus stops and says, something went out of me. And they're like, Master, everyone's touching you. He's like, no, he's like, somebody touched me. He said, Master, everyone's touching you. And he's like, no, something went out of me. Somebody actually believed that the power actually existed. And that woman that we know as the woman with issue of blood, who had been on her menstruation for 12 straight years. Imagine that, ladies, like,
never ceasing a menstruation cycle for 12 straight years. And that civilization, you were considered unclean. I mean, you had to live on the outskirts of, and no man would ever come near you. People wouldn't even be your friend. I mean, completely ostracized as if you was a leper just because you was on your menstruation for 12 straight years. And then she's immediately healed because she knew that connectivity. But then Jairus's daughter died because he stopped to help this woman. So when he gets to Jairus's house, because a messenger comes and tells Jairus, your daughter's already dead. You don't have to bother Jesus. And Jesus said, no, let me go anyway. And so when Jesus gets there, the people that are there are mocking him. Like, well, I don't know what you're here for now. You know what I'm saying? Jesus, all, you know what I mean? You're just on your own sweet time, huh? With a girl dead, now you're going to go about whatever it was that was more important than trying to save this girl. And so he only could bring a few people in. He speaks something, the girl comes back to life. It is what it is. But what we notice in these stories, because they're all just stories and symbols, is that that power is inside of all of us, because this Jesus entity was trying to tell you that you too are Christ. The kingdom of heaven is within. These are actual quotable scriptures that are still in the modern Bible. That means they made it through all the weak, watered down translations, and they're still here to tell us that what it is that you're looking for is inside of you. So anything you want to be, that has shit to do with your skin tone, your zip code, your gender, you know, and actually when you really look at the dispensation of mankind, the woman is the one that's running the show. Well, it should make sense since men are so oppressive of women now. It should make sense. Anything that they tell you, that this society tells you, just flip that shit. And you're more close to the actual authentic organic truth than any fucking thing that's being said out there. If they told you don't do it, you probably should do it. If they told you to do it, you probably shouldn't do it. We just saw it with the needles. You can see it with anything else around you. If you don't know how to hear yourself and talk to yourself and heal thyself and all these things, I mean, everyone's scared to death to go in the hospital now, right? I mean, but that's been the case for a long time. They've been killing people in the hospitals left and right because no one's there to heal. They're only there to make more drug addicts. They want you on more dope. No one's trying to heal you. They're trying to tranquilize the symptoms. And that's what they said about these stupid ass needles. They're like, oh, it ain't gonna stop you from getting COVID, but it'll reduce the symptoms. Well, how about I just clean up my life instead of trying to take another prescription? And so, yeah, it's like once you see it in one lane, it's in every lane.
Yeah.
That's one thing I want people to really understand is you may not know these stories that we know, or you may not have read a Bible or something like that, but you can see this shit in your own life. If it exists in one element of life, it exists in every element of life. And that's what the family of True Light is here to do a lot of time. We're just here to ascend you and elevate you in a way where you can just be able to see and hear and feel at the level that you're supposed to, free from all this external manipulation. You know, it's a sick world, and we are the healing for the world. It wasn't just Joshua, it wasn't just Jesus. Okay, we are the healing for the world, but we can't give something that we haven't given to ourselves first. So we have to be that right now. We have to truly believe that we are healed. We have to truly believe that we are powerful. We have to truly believe that we are God's, and then everything else will begin to catch up with us in that. But it's a journey. It's a journey. It's not just going to be in your mailbox today at 9 o'clock. It's like, it's a journey. It's a commitment, like any other relationship, like between you and your interracial relationship. Does it matter what skin tone he is? No, because the commitment is void of color. It's an energy. And what you are attached to is an energy, not a freaking zoot suit. Now, I'm glad that we look good. I didn't shave for this, but we try to get you, brush our teeth, you clean, put it through our hair, all that. Yeah, the suit is important, but it's not who we are. Yeah. It's not who we are.
Where can they find you? And thank you again for doing this. I know you got to go to that birthday party.
Oh, it's all good.
Really get mad.
Family of True Light on Instagram is probably the easiest way. But my main page that is so censored, we're releasing a marketing campaign right now targeted at individuals to be able to see, come find out why I'm one of the most censored accounts on Instagram. Come find out why you don't know about me. It's Yahomiedonjuan, Y-A, homie, H-O-M-I-E, Don, D-O-N, Juan, J-U-A-N, not a W. I can't tell you how many DJ flyers when I was beginning my career used to put Don Juan as if I was Asian. They put a W up there, and I'm like, hey, I don't know who that guy is, but it's a Q. It's a J, and not a W. So, but that's it. And then if you do click on either of those, you're going to get a link in the bio that can connect you to the rest of the stuff, especially if you guys are interested in NFTs and learning
I just created True Light NFTs as another Instagram page. These pages are easier to find than Yahomiedonjuan. But those are the best ways to find me.
And then if they wanted a sweatshirt, do they go on the website? How can they find it?
The link in the bio also takes you to a merchandise link. There's a Family True Light community link. There's a merchandise link. And now there's new links to join Discord groups for NFT projects. The Discord is an app that was used by a lot of gamers. And it's an app that's used for these NFT projects to help bring people in and grow the communities and be able to, drop announcements. And it's a really incredible tool. I did not know about Discord until like 2 months ago. And to see what these gamers have been doing this whole time, I'm like, oh, this really makes sense. It really brings everybody into this one little community page where you can give the announcements, the giveaways, the contests, you can update them. Everyone can chat, build as a community, all these things. So in those Discord groups for the NFT projects, you get an opportunity to learn about them to see if this is something you wanted to invest into. So you can find those links in there as well for a couple of the projects that I'm already involved with. But you'll be able to find a link for the hoodies. The only thing about the shirts, these shirts right here, is we're going through a shift right now to go into a more streamlined process with a drop shipper. So you can only get small, medium, and larges right now because I don't have any extra larges or anything like that, and I'm not ordering any more of the shirts. The hoodies, though, are available. Currently, this one has never been available. This was a trial run on the white. The black is available right now, but the white isn't. We were thinking about bringing the white in. So people said they wanted the white, but I'm like, yo, it's about to get hot outside. So I'm about to focus on t-shirts and tank tops as opposed to hoodies right now.
Yeah. All right, Paul. Well, thank you so much. And I didn't even get to talk about your DJ stuff. Do you want to put anything about that?
It's all good. I mean, I've been doing it 23 years. I got started in college DJing at 19 to try to make a little money on the side. Back then, cell phones didn't exist. I'm like dating myself now. Pagers did, and I could pay my pager bill for $9. I had a food plan on campus. So I didn't really need money. I had a car. Gas was like $1 something a gallon back then. So it's like, if I could make $50 off a party, man, as a college student, I was good, So I just started doing it like a hustle, and it started growing. And then I started doing clubs in Nashville, which gained the attention of Young Buck with G Unit because he's from Nashville. And I ended up Buck becoming his DJ, touring for years with G Unit and seeing some things that a lot of people ain't never been able to see in their life. But I originally began DJing as for comics, for comedians, with my frat brother, who was a well-known cat. And that's how I know these dudes like Kevin Hart and all these dudes for all these years. I mean, I knew Kevin since people did not know his name. They just was like, yo, that's
when he was on your Instagram, people were like, what the hell, you traitor? He's Illuminati.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, when I posted a photo with him like last year, I was at a house party DJing.
We were like unfollowing you, like
bro, yeah.
I understand it, like when you live in Los Angeles and like when you grow up in entertainment, it's like, you do cross paths with these people, like before they become like whomever, like, you know what I mean? You have a relationship.
And you have relationships with them. But it helped me understand a deeper concept is what we started this call off with about, listen, you get what you need to get, and then you take it out there. Right. And so if I run into my brother, Kevin, and I don't have to agree with everything he's doing in his life, I don't have to know about everything that he's signed. I don't have to know if this is a freaking clone and all these weird shit that we talk about, which I believe exists. But whatever it is, it didn't feel like none of that when he's standing there with me. It felt like the same dude that I knew 17 years ago, right? And it's the same love. But even if all of that shit was going on, whatever's going on in his life, by me being able to dap him, hug him, touch him physically, the coding inside of me has transferred into him for his path forward. And there's no such thing as chance encounters. So when we remove these titles off of these individuals and really just be pure in what it is, then that divine timing brought me and Kevin together for a minute. And I believe it's because there was something that needed to be transferred from me to him and from him to me. It could just been positive energy, love, fellowship, fun, laughter, whatever. But because I'm so intentional about this ascension process, every time I go to DJ a party or anything, I'm always in there praying over the club. I could literally be playing Future record right now, talking about, I don't give a fuck if they was twin sisters. I got to play certain records right now for y'all. Y'all doing what y'all doing, but you don't know what I'm doing in this moment as a secret op or as an undercover.
or whatever I'm doing, because I know I'm in special op movement. I know I am what I am, and I'm going to go into these environments and I'm going to change the environments. They're not going to change me. And so for whatever Christian might be out there that has disowned or tried to disown me because I took a picture with my brother, then it's like, think about your Jesus character was always with these people that the religious folks said they shouldn't be around. So even if it's not Christianity, there's become a Christic consciousness community, which is actually the true original Christianity, which is a whole different story. But this consciousness community, spiritually conscious, that feels like that these certain individuals need to be demonized and assassinated or something. And I'm like, listen, I don't know what's going on, but I signed deals and got into certain deals, especially with the fraternity and shit, without knowing what was going on. Once I became aware of it, I was able to break those chains that were binding me to these rituals and just keep the brotherhood. So it's like, but that was for me. For somebody else, they might not even be able to keep the brotherhood. They might just need to step completely away from the frat. For others, the frat is their life. Guess what? We are still all one. So I'm not about to sit here and play these games. So when I see my bro, I'm not about to turn my back to him or shun him or be like, or run up on him and be like, man, what's up with the rituals, man? What's up? You know what I mean? Is this you, man? Or are you a clone, bro? Is this you? Like, man, look, Ken, what do we do? Like, man, bro, like, hold on, dog. Like, what's going on? Like, nah. But I remember that photo. I remember when I put that one up, and I do remember some of the backlash, and that all that did was just set me off even more. I was just like, I'm always I don't really care. Yeah. I'm going to keep doing me. And I'm not very confrontational, but I get it from my mom. I have this, I tell you exactly how it is. I don't really care about your feelings, but now because I'm trying to be more of a coach, then I'm having to like really become a little bit more, compassionate, which needs patience, but also needs a higher perspective. So now you can become the elder that walks in and just sees a room full of kids that doesn't get upset that one just spilled their juice. That one wants their mom. That one just punched that one. It's like, if you're the type that's like, don't do that. What are you doing? Yeah, you're going to go freaking insane. You should never be a kindergarten teacher. But when you start to be in these lanes, it's like, yo, you got to expect this type of raggedy behavior because they're kids. They don't know no better. And that's how I just kind of look at it. Like now I look at it like people tell me, and they come to me, they be like, yo, such and such was talking shit about you in such and such group. I'll tell you who it is if you want to know. And I'd be like, no, I don't want to know. Yeah. Don't make me no difference. You know what I'm saying? What I need to know for? You know what I mean? I only need to know if they were threatening to cause harm to me. Then I would like, okay, who is it? Yeah. So then they could be on my radar so we can try to figure out what's going on. But I don't really care, what somebody got to say. But like I said, after the Buck thing, the DJing just went on to Shaquille O'Neal comedy tours, and then went all in. I've been doing radio for 13 years, and I DJ for the Outlaws, Tupac group, and running with them since 06 also, and just all types of stuff, you know what I mean? But I got to witness and see this life from a different angle, and that's why a lot of times I'm able to be so relevant, right? Because I have the coding inside of me because I actually live this, and it's like with you. I know you can smell somebody faking from a mile away, fronting, acting like they about something. And it's like, bro, you don't even have no experience in it. I can tell. But when someone's actually got experience in it, then you can feel it. Yeah. And that's why the testimony is so heavy when most people, that's why hurt people will hurt people. But once they heal, they can help set others free. So it's like whatever you've been through was designed to help others. It wasn't just about you. That's the coding that's now accessible to source. You have upgraded your operating system. And so now you can be the iPhone 12. Well, someone else is still the iPhone 3. Somebody's a fucking Android. Somebody's a BlackBerry. Somebody's a flip phone. Somebody don't even exist because they haven't updated their system. So you know what happens when you don't do your updates. The phone stops working. And so for our parents and some others, they stop doing updates. And so that's why they can't get what we're talking about. And it's okay. Because they're still just playing their little games on their old flip phone, and it's fine. They want to sit there and play solitaire all day, fine. Fine. With me, I'm like, you know what I mean? I was like, and we're still all one. Mm-hmm. So it's no looking down upon them, but, and that's how I've treated my DJ career. When I step into an environment, same way with this talk, if I can't elevate it, I don't want nothing to do with it. And so when I step in, I'm going to DJ. And obviously now I went more private with weddings. and private events because clubs are just extremely toxic and they don't like to pay the money that I deserve. Right. So I just go to a wedding, something full of love. I make triple the amount of money. I get tipped more at a wedding than I would get paid to DJ at a club.
That's great.
Still DJing, having a great time, great food, free bar, liquor, wine, champagne. You know what I mean? Everybody have a good time, love. You know what I mean? You add to someone's big day. So I didn't have to stop being a DJ. I just had to find where it fit for me. You know, and that's why I'm still DJing, but you know, it's not controlling my life as it used to. Yeah. You know, I can be an artist with it now. And I know you do music as well. There's something terrible that happens when you have to pay your bills off of your art.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Terrible. It's terrible. It robs you of your creativity and your passion. You know, you should never be trying to make money off of your art.
Yeah.
Your art should be pure. And if you happen to make money off of it, then I mean, great. You know, it's a great day. But when money is the determining factor, and you sign deals with labels and all this stuff, and it just becomes all that, you look up and it's just not happy no more. Can't produce, can't write no more, can't create, can't DJ. Mm-hmm. And I reached that point. I couldn't DJ no more. I just didn't have it. I had to go back. I had to reset, had to find myself. And now when I step into an environment, I'm just thankful to be here. Let's have fun. Whereas back in the day, it was like, man, I gotta pay my fucking bills, man. Hey, man, y'all need a DJ? Yeah. Hey, who y'all got over there Friday? Hey, man, damn, man, why I keep booking the same dude, bro? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it just be like, so then when you get in a DJ, it's like, I gotta do something so I can get called back.
Right.
I'm like, man, I just go in here and do me. And if y'all want me here, then that's what you're gonna get. And if you don't want me, then and it's the same thing with the True Light. If you don't want to hear this, you can go to another Instagram. And people used to, like you said, they were filling up underneath that photo. Yeah. And I'm just like, you know, you could just go somewhere else. You don't have to, you know? So, yeah, that's it. DJ Donjuan.
Well, thank you so much, DJ Paul, DJ Donjuan. Everybody go check him out on Instagram. And if you're interested, go to, was it familyofTruelight.com?
Family of True Light. You can just go Family True Light on Instagram. Yeah, that's the easiest way because the other one's so sensitive. They ain't going to remember. You know, you just type in Family True Light. It's going to pull it up. You're going to see that logo. And then you'll be able to connect and find other pages and stuff. But you'll be able to click that link and come join the community if you want to. And I appreciate you for having me up here. You sound very official. Yeah, very official.
Thank you.
Very official podcast voice. You know, it's like, you know, for someone that does radio as well, I really like what you're doing. And so keep it up. And you guys make sure you continue to support her podcast and help get the word out there of what she's trying to do. Because if you would support her the way that they support Kim Kardashian and all these other entities, then we can actually start making some moves. All right. So you guys make sure you support her podcast as well.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a good day and have fun at the birthday. Absolutely.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Take care. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Love you. How do I end this? End.